not the secrets, but the more like insights maybe about the human face and the human body. Like what kind of stuff get messed up a lot?
I think people, well, man, it's a living. People don't know how they look, so
Yeah.
they generate photos of themselves and then they say, it doesn't look like me.
Yeah.
But it does. Then you can check the training photos. It does look like you,
Yeah.
but you don't know how you look. So there's a face dysmorphia of yourself that you have no idea how you look.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I mean, I've got to one of the least pleasant activities in my existence is having to listen to my voice and look at my face.
Yeah.
So I get to like really have to sort of come into terms with the reality of how I look and how I sound.
And everybody, but
people often don't, right? Like
really,
you have a distorted perspective.
I know that. Like I would make a selfie how I think I look. That's nice. Other people think that's not nice. But then they make a photo of me. I'm like, that's super ugly. But then they're like, no, that's how you look, and you look nice. So how other people see you is nice. So you need to ask other people to choose your photos.
Yeah.
You shouldn't choose them yourself because you don't know how you look.
Yeah, you don't know what makes you interesting, what makes you attractive, all this kind of stuff. Exactly. And a lot of us, this is a dark aspect of psychology. We focus on some small flaws.
Yeah.
This is why I hate plastic surgery, for example. People try to remove the flaws when the flaws are the thing that makes you interesting and attractive.
I learned from the hammerhead shark eyes, the stuff about you that looks ugly to you, and it's probably that what makes you original, makes you nice, and people like it about you.
Yeah.
And it's not like, oh my God. And people notice it. People notice your hammerhead eyes, But it's like, that's me, that's my face. So I love myself. And that's confidence, and confidence is attractive.
Yes.
Right?
Confidence is attractive. But yes, understanding what makes you beautiful. It's the breaking of symmetry makes you beautiful. It's the breaking of the average face makes you beautiful. All of that.
Yeah.
And obviously different for men and women at different ages, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
But underneath it all, the personality, all of that, when the face comes alive, that also is the thing that makes you beautiful.
Yeah.
But anyway, you have to figure all that out with AI.
Yeah. One thing that worked was like people would upload full body photos of themselves. So I would crop the face, right? Because then the model knew better that we're training mostly the face here. But then I started losing resemblance of the body because some people are skinny, some people are muscular, whatever. So you want to have that too. So now I mix full body photos in the training with face photos, face crops, and it's all automatic. And I know that other people they use again AI models to detect like what are the best photos in this training set and then train on those. But it's all about training data, and it's with everything in AI. Like how good your training data is in many ways more important than how many steps you train for, like how many months or whatever with the GPUs. Like the gold.
Do you have any guidelines for people of like how to get good data, how to give good data to fine tune on?
Like the photos should be diverse. So, for example, if I only upload photos with a brown shirt or green shirt, the model will think that I'm training the green shirt. So the things that are the same every photo are the concepts that are trained. What you want is your face to be the concept that's trained, and everything else to be diverse, like different.
So diverse lighting as well, diverse everything.
Yeah, outside, inside. But there's no this is the problem. There's no manual for this, and nobody knew. We were all just, especially 2 years ago, we're all hacking, trying to test anything you can think of, and it's frustrating. It's one of the most frustrating and also fun and challenging things to do because with AI, because it's a black box, and like Karpati, I think, says this. We don't really know how this thing works, but it does something, but nobody really knows why, right? Like we cannot look into the model of an LLM, like what is actually in there. We just know it's like a 3D matrix of numbers, right? So it's very frustrating because some things you think they're obvious that they will improve things will make them worse. And there's so many parameters you can tweak. So you're testing everything to, improve things.
I mean, there's a whole field now of mechanistic interpretability that like studies that, tries to break things apart and understand how it works. But, there's also the data side and the actual like consumer facing product side of figuring out how you get it to generate a thing that's beautiful or interesting or naturalistic, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like at the forefront of figuring that out about the human face. Yeah. And humans really care about the human face.
They're very vain. Yeah, like me, like I want to look good on your podcast, for example. Yeah, for sure.
And then one of the things I actually would love to like rigorously use photo AI, because for the thumbnails, I take portraits of people. I don't
Yeah.
know shit about photography. I basically used your approach for photography. I like Google, how do you take photographs?
Yeah.
Camera, lighting. And also it's tough because maybe you could speak to this also, but like with photography, no offense to any, they're true artists, great photographers, but like people like take themselves way too seriously, think you need a whole lot of equipment. You definitely don't want one light. You need like 5 lights.
Man, I know this.
And you have to have like the lenses. And I talked to a guy, an expert of shaping the sound in a room. Okay. And because I was thinking, I'm going to do a podcast studio, whatever. I should probably like treat do a sound treatment on the room. And like when he showed up and analyzed the room, he thought everything I was doing was horrible. And that's when I realized, like, you know what? I don't need experts in my life.
He kicked him out of the house.
No, I didn't kick him. I mean, I said thank you very much.
Thank you, great tips. Bye.
I just felt like there is, focus on whatever the problems are. Use your own judgment. Use your own instincts. Don't listen to other people, and only consult other people when there's a specific problem. And you consult them not to offload the problem onto them, but to gain wisdom from their perspective. Even if their perspective is ultimately one you don't agree with, you're going to gain wisdom from that. And I ultimately come up with a PHP solution, PHP and jQuery solution to the PHP Studio. Like I have a little suitcase. I use like just the basic sort of consumer type of stuff. One light. It's great.
Yeah, and look at you. You're like one of the top podcasts in the world, and you get millions of views, and it works. And the people that spend so much money on optimizing for the best sound, for the best studio, they get like 300 views, So what is this about? This is about that either you do it really well, or also that a lot of these things don't matter. Like what matters is probably the content of the podcast. Like you get the interesting guests.
Focus on the stuff that matters.
Yeah, and I think this is very common. They call it gear acquisition syndrome, like gas. Like people in any industry do this. They just buy all the stuff. There was a meme recently, like you buy, what's the name for the guy that buys all the stuff before he even started doing the hobby, right? Marketing, marketing does that to people. They want to buy this stuff.
Yeah.
But like, man, you can make a Hollywood movie on an iPhone, if the content is good enough. And it would probably be original because you would be using an iPhone for it, So
that said, the reason I brought that up with photography, there is wisdom from people, and one of the things I realized, you probably also realized this, but how much power light has to convey emotion. You just take one light and move it around. Say you're sitting in the darkness, move it around your face. The different positions are having a second light potentially. You can play with how a person feels just from a generic face. It's interesting. Like you can make people attractive, you can make them ugly, you can make them scary, you can make them lonely, all of this. And so you kind of start to realize this. And I would definitely love AI help in creating great portraits of people.
Guest photos, yeah.
Guest photos, for example, that's a small use case, but for me, that's I suppose it's an important use case because like I want people to look good, but I also want to capture who they are. Maybe my conception of who they are, what makes them beautiful, what makes their appearance powerful in some ways. Sometimes it's the eyes, oftentimes it's the eyes, but there's certain features of the face can sometimes be really powerful. And I can't, it's also kind of awkward for me to take photographs. So I'm not collecting enough photographs for myself to do it with just those photographs. If I can load that off onto AI and then start to play with like lighting,
you should do this, and you should probably do it yourself. Like you can use Photo, but it's even more fun if you do it yourself. So you train the models. You can learn about like ControlNet. ControlNet is where, for example, your photos in your podcast are usually like from the angle, right? Mm-hmm. So you can create a ControlNet face pose that's always like this. So every photo you generate uses this ControlNet pose, for example. I think it would be very fun for you to try out that stuff.
Do you play with lighting at all? Do you play with lighting with pose with the
man? Actually, this week or recently, there's a new model came out that can adjust the light of any photo, but also AI image with Stable Diffusion. I think it's called Relight, and it's amazing. Like you can upload kind of like a light map. So for example, red, purple, blue, and it uses that light map to change the light on the photo you input. It's amazing. So there's for sure a lot of stuff you can do.